What's going on, boys and girls? Welcome back to another SLA video. Welcome to what we're going to be calling the best ways to increase your power. A lot of you guys have been asking questions. Hey, Payne, I'm kind of stuck with power. I don't know how to increase it. So I'm going to give you guys every single method to do so. And just before we start with the video or continue with the video, I want to make sure everyone understands the power calculation is in fact broken. None of it makes sense. We don't know how they power calculate because once you put all your numbers together, most of the time your power is higher than what the game actually shows you. So there is some sort of a penalty or something they're not considering, or it's bugged. Surprise, surprise. So with that being said, let's talk about all the different ways to gain power. We're going to start off with the very simple ones that everybody already knows about, and then we're going to break it down to the ones you may not know about and how to it may improve your score a little bit more. Now, what's the purpose of gaining power outside of being stronger? Well, of course, if you guys are not aware of this, if you are in the red zone for power, you are penalized pretty deeply, right? Now, you guys can see, for example, this stage here is 484.5k. I am at 302, and I am in the red. When you are in the red for combat power, you are penalized by all of your stats being reduced pretty drastically. So the whole goal, of course, of gaining more power is not just to be stronger, but sometimes it's also just to get away from that red, get into the white, and continue doing regular stat damage and beating stages a little easier. So let's talk about all the different ways to gain more power. So we'll start off with Sun Jinwoo. Okay, so first off, artifacts. Plain and simple. Easiest way to gain power. So I'm going to go ahead and unequip all of these artifacts. Okay, unselect all. I'm going to show you guys what artifacts do for you every single time you equip them. So I'll start off with the base artifact. Here's a level 55 artifact with, let's just choose, I don't know, attack. Okay, if I equip this, that gives you a 2,777.6 increase. Now this is additional attack, defense penetration, additional defense, damage reduction. Now let's say I want to put something else on. Let's say I want to put something on with HP or defense. You guys can see that lowers it pretty drastically, right? 171 gone because I lost attack. So attack plays a pretty big role in your numbers. Now what happens if I do something with HP and crit, right? Even lower. See that? So HP plays a small role in your actual increase. Same with critical rate. So when you're building CP, note that some stats actually give you more than others. So let's say I put this one on. Even further, right? So you guys can see here, this one has HP and defense and loses out everything else in between. Crit and some additional attack is gone. Keeping in mind, attack does the most. So if I put this one on, this one gives you a ton because I have 2 attacks. So attack seems to give you guys the most combat power in terms of stats. So if you're looking for the most stats, the best gear is going to be attack. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and equip every single thing and show you guys how much power we can get just from artifacts alone. Now I'm not going to dive deep into which ones or which stats give you the most, but attack for sure will be one of the highest ones. So let's go back in here and go ahead and start equipping some items here. Now I'm going to go ahead and do just for this one here, we're going to go with the hard leather set, okay, the toughness set. Now keep in mind, the level of your artifacts will also determine how much you get in regards to damage, okay, or in regards to CP, so combat power. So the higher the level equipment score here, the more combat power you get. That's a standard thing in most gacha games. This is no different. Make sure you are focusing on that, and you guys can push Jinwoo probably to 100 plus if you're a whale, usually about 80 to 90 plus if you're free to play on the top end levels. Okay, so just everyone's on the same page on that one. There we go. Additional attack. Let's see which one's better here. So here, I'll show you an example. Additional attack 2 plus crit rate, right? Let's put this one on. That's a 9,691. If I replace this one with the other one, which has a little bit more attack, I think, right? If we look at it, less critical rate, but more attack. Overall, let's see what we get here. You guys can see here, it's a 288 increase. So attack is in fact the best stat increase for you in the game. Now, if I look at basics now, right, I'm already at 50% for crit rate, 124% for critical hit rate, and my attack is decently high. So usually I run the lion set for him because I find it's better because of the attack and defense penetration, but we're going to go ahead and do this set for now just to show you guys how this all works out. So here we go. Now we have the artifacts, or the, sorry, not artifact, the accessory sets, okay? Now, this is the same scenario. You run the ones that give you guys the most amount of stats. Here, the same thing applies. Crit hit damage, defense penetration, none of that really matters for CP. attack is what's going to matter most. So it's up to you how you want to do this. Stats obviously do matter, so this is going to make a difference based on what you want to do. But for me personally, I'm looking for crit hit damage because of all my setups going here. So this has defense penetration +3. This has crit hit damage. So let's go and try it, compare the two. So 8780, if I were to replace this now for the other one, which has attack in it, let's see what it looks like. You guys can see here the defense penetration actually did give a little bit more. So because of the +3 on there, right? So look, +3 defense penetration. That's huge. And the damage increase is massive too. So we're going to put this one on. And then we're going to look here and find the next one that makes most sense. So this here has crit hit damage. Also has attack and additional attack. So this is a big one. So we're going to put that one on. 12,000 for that increase. That was a huge one. And then here we're going to go ahead and find the best attack one. Attack, damage increase, crit hit damage, so we have that. Or we can go look for another one here that's similar with better stats. So let's see. So this one has additional attack, defense penetration, crit hit. So let's see here. 68 score versus 85 score. Okay, let's see what the difference is when I equip this one. So I'll go ahead and do this. So 7912. And now I'm going to go ahead and put this one on, even though it has worse stats, okay? Look at that. It actually does drop. So the stats here do make a difference, enough of a difference, even with less attack. But obviously, the fact that it has additional attack here is huge, and critical hit damage, it makes a bigger difference. Now remember though, this one does have damage increase +2, which is a big amount of increase. So even though the CP is a little bit lower on this one, technically the attack here and the damage increase percentage is fairly high. So let's just say I want to see what this looks like from a damage increase perspective. Puts me at 6.85. That's a total amount of damage increase. But if I go back and I equip the attack here, I'm pretty sure the attack will make a difference in comparison. So we'll go ahead and put this one on. There you guys go. 39 only, not a big deal. So it really depends on what you're looking for that one. And then lastly, we have the earrings, okay? This one always gives you MP as the main stat. So here you just want to, again, look at what makes sense for you as a player. So here, attack and crit hit damage. Perfect. All right, so there we go. 112 CP for Sung. Okay, so Jinu's now set up. Now, other ways to get yourself power. Maybe this is something you guys are not aware of. Skills, of course, right? Leveling up your skills. At a certain point, you're going to be able to level up all your skills. Keep in mind, skills will only increase the damage amount and nothing else in here. So for the main thing to focus on is what skills do you use most and which ones are the most beneficial to you. So for example, the new skill, Armor Break, this is one that I really do like. So if I want to level this up, right, you guys can see here, it only levels the base skill, not the actual runes. Okay, keep that in mind. So if I want to level this one up, for example, I have to use a mana power extract, and I have to use three of the epic ones at 47,000. You can see here it goes to +5 instead, so it goes to 13. Right? Oh, I got the +5 actually because of all the extra bonus dupes that I got. But this will move it to 13, and the power goes up by 50. What is that? 54%. So let's take a quick look on something that's a little less first. Here we go. So this one is going to cost only two skill scrolls. I'm going to go ahead and do this one. See what the power increase is. Only 38. Okay, so there you go. Now, as you go further up, 38. Now, this is another skill. This is the level 2 version of it. 39. So not much of an increase there, right? So you guys can see it doesn't really increase it too much in the first place. Now, what happens if you go a little further? So 38, you guys can see here, it's not much. So let's do a mana extract one on this one here. Okay, see if the highest level versions do more. 38. So there you go. On average, 38. Okay, so it is worthwhile going through some of the lower level stuff just to get them up and gain some CP from it. But don't go crazy on there and waste all of your tokens on these because it's not a massive amount of increase. Now, with that being said, also have to remember weapons also allow you to increase their weapon skills too. So if I go to any of my skills here, these will also be able to be increased by using some scrolls. So for example, if I want to increase, let's just say the Grimoire's basic attacks, okay? Because this is used fairly often. Right? You guys can see here, nothing was changed. Nothing was changed, okay? And this is the same here. If I go here, skill up, nothing gets changed, okay? So this one doesn't actually affect CP. It only affects the actual power of the weapon. Now the reason why it doesn't affect CP, of course, is because it's not equipped. But if I have something equipped, let's see what I have equipped right now. The plum sword and the sniper. So let's say I have the sniper on, okay? So the west wind. If I want to skill this one up, 38. Okay, so that's how you tell. It's pretty much the same for all skills. It's 38 across the board. So those are some of the best ways to do it. Make sure, guys, artifacts, you are leveling up to 20. Don't focus on leveling up to 20 unless you get the right artifacts. If you have decent artifacts, 14 is good enough. Don't go past 14. You're just wasting resources at that point, all right? All right, guys, so now that we've covered the basics of artifacts and skills, let's talk about something else that's pretty standard, right? Every time you level, you gain yourself stats. Every time you level, you gain yourself some CP and all your stats go up. So which stat is the most impactful in the game? So first off, everyone is aware strength should be everything you should be focusing on in regards to your overall gameplay, but what actually gives you guys the most amount of power? So let's find out. So here we go. I'll put 10 into it. Actually, you know what? We're going to do 1 into attack. That gives you an increase of 25. If I go into vitality, increase of 18. Agility, increase of 15, intelligence, increase of 20, and precision, increase of 14. So you guys can see here, strength and attack, this proves it because we see it in the artifacts, is in fact the strongest one. Then it's HP and defense, then it's agility, then it's intellect, then it's agility, then it's precision. Okay, so just want to show you guys how that works. So everything should have technically been going into strength. That's right, I already did a stats guide for you guys, the most recent update with all the testing. I know some of you guys may not believe this, but I do a lot of testing and I show it to you guys. All of that should go in there. You guys can see here it's a 9,921 increase in power. And this is why attack works so well for raising your combat power overall, because it does raise your CP the most, right? And that's why you want to focus on attack more. I think not only that, it's the most impactful in the game in regards to how much you get out of it. So that takes your Geno. Now let's talk about the hunters. Hunters are going to work a little bit differently. Oh, actually, one other thing, of course, I have to mention about Geno is going to be the weapons, okay? So the higher the weapons, the more dupes you have, the better. Keep in mind that the attack, again, the HP and the precision is all going to make the biggest difference out of anything else. So the higher the attack, the more combat power you're going to get. The more the dupes, by the way, the higher the result, right? So look here. I've got the same here, 2,500, 3,750, 4,000. So same stats, same pretty much skills across the board. But if I were to equip this scythe, you guys can see here the power went up by 900. Now, why is that? Well, because the scythe has an extra bonus, 1 extra dupe than the plum sword. Now, if I go back to the plum sword for a second, and let me see if I got another copy of it. I don't think I do. But if I did have another copy and I were to dupe this up, yeah, see, I don't have another copy. But if I were to get another copy and dupe this up, then this and this will be in the exact same power level, okay? So your dupes do matter. SR dupes will always do better than R dupes, and then SSR dupes at the same level will always do more combat power than SR dupes. So keep that in mind. SSR with the same amount of dupes will always be more powerful than the rest, all right? So that's something to remember. And the stats for all weapons are pretty much the same, guys. It's attack, HP, precision across the board, just so everyone is aware and we're all on the same page. So there you guys go. That's pretty much another way to increase your power. Now, as you increase your weapons, by the way, it will also increase the CP as well too. You guys can see here if I want to do Vulcan's Rage, for example, right there, getting it ascended doesn't do anything. But if I were to level it up, there's a combat power increase. And this is great because your armory goes up. And we'll talk more about that very soon as well too, okay? So there it is. That is all of Geno's power gains. Let's talk about hunters. Hunters are very similar in this regard. The only difference with hunters is they've got 2 extra bonuses that they have to deal with and a couple less things that they don't have to deal with. So first off, their weapons don't have skills. You cannot level up any skills for these weapons, so there's no skill traits used there, but the characters themselves in fact do have skills, so you can get the levels of the character's skills up at any time, right? So for example, I want to get Cha's level up, there you go, it's 106, so it is a lot more powerful than Geno's skills, so 107 in regards to how much they increase all of their attacks and how much CP they get, okay? So another thing to note as well too about them is the artifacts work the exact same way. Attack will work better than everything else, so artifact level, artifact power, etc. is all going to affect it. And then, of course, the weapon they use. Now, the only difference here between Geno and the Hunters is they have this mode called Growth Upgrade. You have to get enough elixirs here to grow, and as you grow, your stats will increase, and the total stats will affect the amount of CP you have. Now, remember, when you are building a team, you can have 3 different Hunters on here, and those Hunters' combat power totals will equal, with Geno's will equal this. Now, remember, it doesn't actually add up. The numbers are wrong. We don't know why. They've never been explained, but they're wrong. But it does make a difference on who you use and what combat power. So sometimes, even if the power is lower, sorry, even if the power is, if you need more power, even if the team itself doesn't make sense for the stage, sometimes it's better just to get out of the red by using your strongest hunters. Also, your shadows do make a difference. So for example, if I were to remove some of these shadows and put my 2 weakest shadows, look, watch this, what happens. But my power went down, right? So even though it doesn't show you from a scale perspective, they do make a difference. So make sure, guys, you are in fact equipping all of your best shadows early on so you guys can gain some more power right there. Okay, so that is another way to grow. Now, with the same thing applies here with their stats. Everything is based off of the same stat sheet. So they have precision, they have defense, critical hit rate, etc. All that stuff makes a difference. Now, with precision, it all comes from the dupes of their main weapons, right? Whether it's SR weapons or if it's SSR weapons, all of the precision comes from that. So make sure you are duping weapons for SR versions and not selling them. All right, that's a big no-no if you're selling your weapons. Of course, this also makes a difference. The dupe of the character will also be a huge factor in regards to increasing power. Now, remember, costumes, we know this now, do not affect the characters in any way, shape, or form in terms of stats, so nothing happens there. All right, guys, those are the main ways to gain power. Remember, your Army of Shadows is another one, so the more you grow your Army of Shadows, the stronger they become, the more power you get, the more your CP raises. Okay, let's just get these all up here. Almost at 28 now. Jeez. So that's all going to make a difference. The level of your actual knight will make a difference as well. So let's level him up here. You guys can see here now my shadow gain another growth spurt. That will also increase the total power now of my unit and my total power in general. If I want to go ahead and use my shades here, I can promote him one more time. Now I've got myself a different shadow altogether. Stronger, again, there it is, 87, but when you actually add him into the level, it increases even further, right? So keep that in mind. Growing your shadows makes a massive difference in regards to your power gain. Okay, and then lastly, guys, I'm going to do a whole separate video on this one, and that's going to be the armory. The armory does matter. Okay, what the armory does is it takes your best weapons automatically and places them in here and gives you guys a total CP increase. It does not affect your stats in any way, shape, or form. It's a ghost CP increase. It's a boost to your combat power, okay? And the way it works, and I will go deeper into this, is the more of these you level up, the more combat power you get from here, and then that adds to your total power that you can get overall to increase your stats, not your stats, sorry, to increase your combat power when you are doing stages. So this is important to get out of the red as well too, but it is very costly. So I'll do a full guide on this for free-to-play players and new players so you understand how the armory works. All right, guys. This is Payne. I think I've covered every single aspect of growth in this. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else here that I can add for it. I don't think there is. I think this pretty much covers it all. But those are all the ways to gain yourself combat power. Try to stay out of the red if you can, but free-to-play players, don't worry about it. You're going to be living in the red and you can still finish some stages. Being in the red is not the be-all, end-all, but I just want to show you guys some ways to gain power, or all the ways to gain power in this game. All right, guys. Talk to you guys in the next one. Take care.